Yes, a new world coming. No one nations are coming in peace, coming in joy, coming in love, coming in love, coming in love, coming in
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet all of you who have in your hearts the hunger and thirst for Allah's understanding of His instruction in righteousness, which is called Holy Scriptures. You know, I used to wonder about the words, "Be ye holy, as He is holy." I used to say, how in the world somebody gonna be holy as God is, and you don't know what's in His mind? Now I understand. I'm here to give you the understanding of His holiness. And so I greet all of you who are hungry and thirsty for that. May Allah's salam alaikum. Indeed, a new world is here, coming into being. Not a new world order, a new world of thought, a new world in every way that you think business, from agribusiness to science, the sciences, to educating of the young. You notice it says His truth. It says the Lord is good. In order to understand that, you have to believe everything else that they said. Jesus said, ain't none good but one, and that's God. Well, if the Lord is good, then the Lord must be God. It says, and His mercy is everlasting, and His truth endureth, meaning will remain what you call relevant to all generations, which means the school system ain't going to be like this one. You can't teach religion in school. You're going to be teaching religion through the school system, through everything. That's what we're setting up right now. Our children learn Islamic studies, just like they learn social studies in the public school system of this world that's passing away. I want you to hear, many people think that, I somehow, that I'm trying to steal other people's followers. I don't want no followers but my own. As the book tells you who am I on, and I'm going to show you. You know, sometimes people think that I'm making up something. I'm not making up nothing. I'm remembering what's written and guiding you to where you will understand me. But as I study the scriptures, it gives me greater understanding of myself. And listen to this. It says in the 13th verse of the 3rd chapter of the book of Malachi. I'm gonna give you a chance to find it. Before I get into this, did anybody have something they wanted to take me to task about, or something that I may have said that you disagree with? Did you want to discuss it with me? And you know, you have people out there that's reading going into my inheritance and coming out deluded. You know, I got a text from a brother that tried to tell me he's one of the sons of God. And if he had come in here and wanted to discuss it, I told him to come on, and he said he told me that I'm doing my job, and he's not going to, you know. But brother, you've deceived yourself. No, you're not one of the sons of God. And there's not but one God. And all of the prophets taught you that. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you that. He told you about me. He said the black man's God is truth. He was created from truth. He didn't say they was created from truth. He said he was created from truth. And he had another place, he said, our God is not a made God. Our God is a created God. If you knew who our was, you would know where to go and find that. But you don't know, so you don't. At least you would have a good idea of where to go find it. But you out here trying to be trying to tell yourself that you are something more than what you are. I'm not trying to make myself more than what I am. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad got on me for trying to make myself less than what I am. And as he told me, he said, you going around here looking for something to bow down to. He said, you to God. And it took me a long time to accept that. But I finally accepted it. And but anyway, as I was telling you, you know, your world, the world you have is at an end. You know, it's just like I could not believe it when I was on the way. I was driving home from Michigan. And I asked one of my helpers to go online and see what's going on in the news. And they said that the President Trump, had made $100 and something billion agreement to sell arms and military supplies. What was that? Saudi Arabia?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I said, what? How you? then it dawned on me what was really going on. How Saudi Arabia, those people. You remember them big pictures they showed of Saddam Hussein on the side of buildings and all that stuff? And on when the president came there, I had my suspicions of what they was trying to do. They've studied a little about him, and they know he has an ego. So they played on that. And any of them that disagree with me, you're welcome to come in and talk with me about it. But the truth of the matter is, they played to his ego and made him feel very important, which he shouldn't have needed them to make him feel important, because the presidency of the United States is actually the most powerful position in this current world that you could hold. You're the most actually important person in this particular world. And so you shouldn't need to be made to feel important, feel the need to be made to feel important. But anyway, and so the first thing they ask him first thing they do is try to get from him what they couldn't get from the presidents before him. How you gonna make peace in the Middle East if you are supplying them with billions of dollars worth of weapons? And you're talking about ISIS, you want to fight ISIS? And you about to flood that area with weapons? No. I told you didn't have no business sending somebody in there that didn't have any idea what the political game is. But anyway, you don't pay me no attention. So I'm going to give all of you business people in America who mean right. Those are those white Muslims in America. When I say white Muslims, I'm talking about those of you who believe in God and believe in His Word and try your best to live according to Allah's Word that's written in the Holy Bible. This government is not going to. It has become so corrupt that I don't expect them to ever want to conference with me until it's too late. But you who are the CEOs of places like Caterpillar, all of these big, the Home Depot Corporation, Lowe's, and all of these building material places, and the auto manufacturers, the CEOs of those companies and whatnot. If you will offer me whatever help I need from you to help my people, all these calamities that you see hitting America will pass over you. And all I'm asking is that when, whatever I need in the way of help, you can keep your money. Just, whatever business you're in, when I need something, you just supply it. And mercy will be shown to you. Allah said He would bless those that bless me, and He would curse those that curse me. And so I'm, there's your way out. You're not going to be able to stop us coming on this system of things. The world that you have known is at its end. But as I told you, I'm not interested in stepping on other people in order to get up. You know, I mean, this government sends billions of dollars in aid every year of tax money from the American people and to Israel and to Egypt and to many of those Middle Eastern countries over there. So, and you don't seem to have a problem with that. You seem to think that that's okay. Well, the new nation of Islam is coming into being now. We are coming to birth. And we need aid. And, you know, I don't know how much Israel and Egypt and all of these other countries are contributing to the economy of America. But I know that the black man and woman who are ex-slaves of America have and are still contributing a great deal to the economic well-being of this country through our labor and through our taxes and through many things. So I know you're not going to insult me and try to make light of me for saying that we would like America to aid us in the way of supplying us with things that we need. Some of the American citizens, I think, believe in justice. I think that you find that what I'm requesting is not an unjust request, especially since look at all of the heavy equipment that's just sitting on a lot at Caterpillar, and look at all of the lumber that's just sitting up on the shelf at a lot of these places. I mean, you could give it and get a tax write-off for giving it to us. And it's much that you could do to help me to help my people. Is any white people that's listening to me objecting to that? What is your objection to what I just suggested? What? Press *6 on your phone and tell me why that is an unjust request. You know, we are, you know, we're working and putting our little pennies together to try to put up a theater. And, you know, the building is you know, it's all run down, and, you know, and we are trying to bring something decent into our community here. And we, you know, like this St. Catherine's cement. There's a lot of cement suppliers. You know, we want to fix up the city. We want to fix up the sidewalks and things. And, you know, just for a yard of concrete, it's, you know, it's $125 a yard, $130 a yard, that kind of thing. And on Main Street in Fayette, Main Street looks terrible, except for what United Mississippi Bank put up there in the way of businesses. Everything else looked like it's about to fall down. Got that brand new beautiful bank that they invested in and put it there. And you know, I would like the whole city to look like that. Then as we do that in the city, then we could just move on out to the county. And there's many things that we need you to recognize. If you truly recognize that if you really mean it, that we are free, well, then you have an obligation, since you were the ones that enslaved us. You have an obligation to help us get a good start and help us to be able to stand on our feet and provide for what we need for ourselves. And eventually, we got to have some of this earth that we call our own. How are we free and we still paying taxes to you? Does Israel pay taxes to America? Does Egypt pay taxes to America? Does Japan pay taxes to America? Does any of your allies pay taxes to you? You don't say they're not your allies because you can't get no taxes from them. You don't say they're your enemies. How you free us and taxing us? Anyway, and that's why the government people, you got a lot of racists, mostly racists, in the government now, that can't get past thinking, can't get past the lies that they've been perpetuating from generation to generation, that they are superior and that everybody else is inferior and should be serving them. But you can't even come in here and keep a straight face or hold a civil conversation to convince anyone that's listening that you are my superior. So, you need to come up off of that, man. You need to wake up and see the truth. You need to, as the old saying goes, you need to wake up and smell the coffee. As we look at the thing that's going on around the earth, the forces of nature are miserably destroying this world. Soon, if you don't start listening to me, you're going to see things like that tsunami that took out 100 and something, almost 200,000 people. You're going to start seeing that kind of thing happen on a regular basis, but only it'll be with not just tsunamis, but with tornadoes, with the earthquakes, with, you're going to, I should say, what they call sinkholes. I was told that a sinkhole have opened up in front of one of the president's properties in Mar-a-Lago. That's what you said?
Yes.
Oh. I don't think the Congress is going to let billions of dollars in weaponry go to that already troubled area. I don't think they're going to approve that. Of course, there's a whole lot of things I didn't think was going to happen that happened.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
What the Salon has a comment. He says Saudi Arabia was the top recipient of American-made arms from 2011 to 2015.
Yeah.
He says selling arms to the Middle East accounts for 40% of U.S. exports.
Well, what can you say? You need to get on a mic that people can hear. I don't know why I got to keep telling y'all that. But anyway, if they want to, I told you that arms, military warfare, death is the biggest business in America. Matter of fact, it's the biggest business in the world. Man killing his brother. Everybody making money off of man hating his brother. They have gone in the way of Cain. And mercenaries are everywhere, ran greedily after the error of Balaam. So, I'm warning all of you. You better turn around. We're not winking at ignorance no more. That's why I'm wising you up. If I had not come and spoken unto you, you wouldn't have been blamable. But ignorance won't be no excuse now. If you ignorant after I've been on here all this time speaking, it's because you wanted to be. And if you willingly ignorant, well, that's you. That's on you. So in Malachi, the third chapter, in the 13th verse, it says, "Your words have been stout against me." You know that's true. You can tell that's talking about me and you. You know your words have been very stout against me, been strong against me, saith the Lord. Yet you say, what have we spoken so much against you? You have said it is vain to serve God. How many times you done heard people sitting up talking about religion is nothing but a means of making slaves out of people? Huh? In other words, it's vain to believe in and serve God, huh? You come in here and say that stuff to me. It says, and they said, and what profit is it that we have kept his ordinances? One person said, well, if ain't nothing after you die, then what is the point of me trying to be righteous? Is that what it said? What profit is it to be righteous? Okay. Then it says, what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance and that we have walked mournfully before the Lord of hosts? What profit is it that we have, mournfully? When you mourn, you think over someone who passed away and you feel sorry and you feel sad over the loss of them. And then you sit down and you think over them. Well, all of the prophets now have passed away. And every time you go into a mosque or church or cathedral or any place where the scriptures are recited and remembered, then that is a form of mourning the prophets of God. And then you say, well, what profit is it that we have walked mournfully before the coming of the Lord? Then it says, and now, this is what you say, and now we call the proud happy. Yeah. So they that work wickedness are set up. You see this show they got coming up to my snowfall? And I know it from looking at it, it's going to show some little black man making his fortune doing what Al Capone and all the rest of them did. Got rich making people drunk. Huh? Okay. And suggesting that if you want to make it, you need to do that. You remember the DeLorean? that the man tried to get his thing going by and got caught trying to make a drug deal to get the money to finance his venture. Huh? Okay. It says, so now we call the proud happy. Why we say the proud happy? Because it lets you know that that's talking about Iblis. He was proud, and he was one of the disbelievers. Huh? And so it says, now we call the devil happy. We call the proud happy. Yeah. They that work wickedness are set up. They living large. Huh? It says, yeah, they that tempt God are even delivered. Don't nothing happen to them. You remember how people used to come in here and talk crazy to me? As if I couldn't do nothing about it. And that gave some of the rest of them courage to do it too. Huh? They that tempt God are even delivered. At least it appears to the wicked that they're getting away. Then they that feared the Lord, they spoke often one to another, and the Lord hearkened, paid attention to them, and heard it, and understood that no, everybody ain't joining in against me. And a book of remembrance was written before him. What's another word for remembrance? When you bring something to people's remembrance, what are you doing? You're reminding them. The Holy Quran is a reminder to the nation. A book of remembrance was written before him. Yes. It had to get a book of remembrance because the people had tampered with the Bible so much and began experimenting with the language of the Bible, putting it in such language that you had to get a book of remembrance so that whatever they added to it, the book of remembrance would say, no, it didn't say that. It said this. Do you understand? As you go to Catholic Church, for instance, and you hear them saying, I've seen it. I haven't been to Catholic Church, but I've seen it enough on TV. They say, Hail Mary, the Mother of God, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. And they never really explain what they're talking about. So people, then they turn around and then interject something that suggests to you that Jesus was God. Because, they say, the Word was made flesh. And that's talking about Mary when she got pregnant. And it wasn't no man involved in that. The Holy Spirit did it. And so Jesus was God in the flesh. And Mary was his mother. And that ain't had nothing to do with that statement. The one who concocted it, they know that that's not what it means. But if they'd have said it right, then they couldn't have pushed that lie that they've been telling you that Mary got pregnant and Joseph didn't have nothing to do with it. And that's a lie. Joseph was Jesus' biological father. But anyway, I could straighten out what they said. They could have, if they'd have said it like this: Hail Mary, godly mother, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is that fruit of your womb. Jesus. Jesus was not accursed. He was not, like the Jews said, we be not born of fornication like you. That's what they said to Jesus. But, Jesus said to them, if God was your father, you would love me. For I proceeded forth and came from God. Neither did I come of myself. I didn't choose how I was conceived. But he sent me. Don't no child get conceived if God don't permit. And he has, you know how people say, I'm not responsible for how I was born. Well, you accusing me of. Ain't nothing about, you ain't, if God was your father, you wouldn't do that. But anyway, see, I just keep it real. I'm not a person that like to talk in circles. I like to talk and be understood. That's how you shut people's mouths. If you talking in circles, you bound to get somebody open their mouth and argue with you. But if you speak plain truth, then that don't leave no argument for nobody. You understand? So it says, then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord, and that thought upon his name. You see, the Holy Quran is there mentioned in the Bible. It's called the book of remembrance. And the mere fact that the Holy Quran is called a reminder is bearing witness to the Holy Bible. Because if it wasn't for the Holy Bible, your next question would be, if it's a reminder, reminding us of what? Do you understand? So both of the books, the Holy Quran and the Holy Bible, they bear witness to each other. Then the next verse says, and they, now it says, now remember now, say a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord and that thought upon his name. He had a name written that no man knew but he himself, and his name is called what? So everybody that remembers and think upon the word of God, you know how you ever noticed when you a little hungry and then you start thinking about eating, you know, it seemed to make you hungrier. You notice that? If you're a little thirsty and you start thinking about water and can't get it, it make you even thirstier. Is that right? So when you think on the word of God and be trying to figure out what it's talking about, it makes you even more thirsty and hungry for the understanding of it. And that's to help you appreciate me. Now that I'm here, giving you the understanding of it, it's like, you know how people, when somebody bring them what they thirsty for or whatnot, they take a big long drink and they say, is that right? Right. They take a sigh. That's not just a quenching of the thirst. That's a sigh of relief. Huh? I finally got what I've been wanting. Okay. So it says, and they shall be mine. Remember, Jesus said, the words that I speak are not mine, but his that sent me, the Father's that sent me. And when Jesus was asked, didst thou say unto men to take me and my mother as God, in derogation of God? And he said, never could I have said what I had no right to say. I said not to them, but what thou didst command me. What did Jesus say? The words that I speak are not mine, but his that sent me. The Father which sent me, he gave me a commandment what I should say and what I should speak. So both books agree. Jesus never told you to worship him and his mother. That's your doing. So he's cleared of your lie. Then it says, and they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. So I'm showing you that I'm not telling you something that ain't written. If you help me to help my people, you just you can call me. My number is 601-786-1332. That's my cell phone. And you don't have to get into your business over no phone, because I know it's people that would try to bother you for helping me. So you can just return my call, if you know what I mean. And then I will visit you. You give me the card that I need to have to come do business, and then you can just help me like that. And I'll keep it between us, and nobody got to know. My mouth, I have control over what come out of my mouth. I learned that from all of the presidents before this one. Most of them, they could talk and talk and talk and never really tell you nothing about the real business that was going on. Do you understand? And so that's part of understanding politics too. Then it says, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. Then shall you return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serves God and him that serveth him not. So I want you to remember that. And I'm offering you a chance. You don't have to suffer because you have wicked people in high places. You a businessman. If you want to help me to help my people, you know, your business will be fine. You'll notice you don't hear nobody unmuting their phone telling me they wish they hadn't helped me. Because now they broke, or now they ain't got nothing. I done took all their money or whatnot. One of the first things I tell people that join with me is not to be foolish with your money. Now, when you start giving in charity and stuff, I tell all of you now, you ain't got no right to give the light bill to me. That's not yours to give. You owe it to the light company. Pay your light bill. Your gas bill, that's already spoken for. You got to pay that. You got to eat, so you can't give all your grocery money away. I don't want you to be foolish with what you have. What it takes for you to make it, you don't have that to give. But what's left over, now, give from there. You see, I used to, I was kind of foolish. Like young people, I ain't never thought much about no money, no way. But, I hadn't ever really been on my own. I had always lived with other people. And so I wasn't used to taking care of bills and stuff when I was 21 and 22, because in the Marine Corps I didn't have no bills, so I went, we be in there shooting pool or something, gambling, and just throwing money away, going to Oceanside drinking or something, just. But anyway, when they would be asking for money in the temple, I kept me some money, but I'd give it up. I'd give it all, then find myself, when I got me an apartment, I was ducking the landlord, climbing through my window or something, sneaking into my apartment, and the lights was off and all that stuff, because I was too foolish to realize that, it was some of the foolish ones who was leading us. Make the landlord wait. Let the devil wait on that money. Muhammad needs that money. So I gave it. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would have told us just the opposite. When you're young and you're full of zeal, and people that seem to have authority, they tell you something, you just do what they tell you. And after a while I saw that something just ain't right there. But it took the messenger passing to make me realize that that's what he actually wanted me to do, is to see that something ain't right here. I remember he said, "You will notice, brother, the universe is egg-shaped. The planets in the universe are egg-shaped. They are not a perfect round sphere." He said, "Well, this leaves a little work for some wise man." He said, "Now, this is the way we look at knowledge. That which I cannot perfect, someone else will have to come and perfect that thing." And so he brought the idea for the new world. He conceived it. And he used whoever and whatever he could find to help him lay that foundation. He didn't bring to birth the Nation of Islam. He brought to conception, he brought the concept of Nation of Islam, which is the foundation for a nation. You have to conceive it first before it can be built and come to birth. And so he brought the foundation, and he knew that I would, being the architect of the human mind that is to occupy those who would be part of the new nation, he called me a human architect, because I'm here to perform an operation on the mind of all human beings, to make them complete human beings. You have the form of God, for God is man, but you don't have the power, the knowledge that is required to act godly, and so in a godly manner. So I'm here to instruct you in righteousness. And So it's up to you to decide to let me or not. That's up to you. So I want to share something with you here. This is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He was talking back in 72. And he told their garments were washed white in the blood of the Just a moment. I got the wrong tape here, obviously. Give me a minute. I brought so many of my CDs here. I grabbed the wrong one. So y'all excuse me. I will correct that error. And yes. I want you to hear the messenger say these things. He said a lot of things that all of you need to hear. Okay.
And sinful people ever lived on the earth. People that have no moral love for self or anyone else. Terrible country. I have come here today to talk with you maybe on various things, not just one thing, but lots of things. I would like to know before I start, how many visiting ministers do we have here? I don't know what kind of minister you are. I just want to know who I'm talking to. Will you stand, please, you visiting ministers? Tell us so, what's the denomination, church? Two. Oh, there should be no ministers here. Only three? If you want me to visit you, you better visit me. I'm kind of old fellow like this. I love to talk with you. I love to try to make friendship with you. If there's anything wrong with my preaching, tell me so. If there's anything wrong with yours, I'm going to tell you.
You see how people don't realize that I'm doing what the messenger said we would do. If there's anything wrong with my preaching, tell me so. You see how I leave the phone lines open for people to come in and tell me what they found wrong with what I'm teaching? And if there's anything wrong with what you're preaching, I'm going to tell you. Is that what he said? They didn't object. They clapped, didn't they? Then why got these people out here mad because I'm telling Farrakhan and all of them what's wrong with what they doing? Because you a bunch of hypocrites that really didn't believe what the messenger was teaching. And you mad at me because I did believe it. Now listen to him again.
Try to make friendship with you. If there's anything wrong with my preaching, tell me so. If there's anything wrong with yours, I'm going to tell you. If you have proof that yours is right, I will join you today. I won't go back and think it over. I will join you today. If yours is not mine, and yet it's right, then mine must be wrong. So I will join you today.
You remember I told you he said that? You heard me say the same thing. You know, if yours is right, if you can prove to me that yours is right, then I'll join you today. I don't have to go away and think about it. If yours is not mine and yours is right, then mine got to be wrong. And I won't have to go away and think over it. I'll join you right now.
You will have to prove. I won't go back and think it over. If you have proof that yours is right, I will join you today. I won't go back and think it over. I will join you today. If yours is not mine, and yet it's right, then mine must be wrong. So I will join you today. But brother, you will have to prove. I was brought up in a Baptist church. When I was a little boy, my father was a preacher at that time, and I was in his church. I used to sit on minister's lap because my grandmother, she would let me go up in the pulpit with my father, and he wouldn't run me out because I was a very spiritual little boy myself. I loved to hear people preach, but I didn't love to hear no one sing. When I was a little boy, 2 or 3 years old, going up there in the speaker stand with my father, when they started singing, I would cry. They would frighten me. So my grandmother taking me out and giving me a spanking a couple of times, I learned to try to keep my mouth shut.
What did you see me do when my baby was in here disrupting my meeting? I spanked her little bottom. You didn't hear from her no more, did you? That's the way I was raised. That's the way my parents raised me. And you're out of your mind to call my mother a child abuser or my father. My father loved me and my mother did too. And they gave me a good beating when I needed one. You have to grow up to be able to appreciate what kind of parents you had. Especially when in a world like this, I have plenty to compare my mama to. That's why even when the little brother was calling my mother the B word and all that kind of thing, I told him, I said, brother, you don't know my mama. You wouldn't say that if you had ever met my mother. You would feel ashamed of yourself. You know, my mother was You talk about a sweet woman. She was a very sweet person. As some of the brothers and sisters who met my mother, you know, she was always respectful. If she didn't agree with you, she'd just say, well, I don't agree with that. There wasn't no big hoopla and cussing at you and all that stuff. My mother would just say, no, I don't agree with that, Marvin. And when I got to be a man, sometime I'd go around her and I'd be talking. She said, look, Marvin, if that's what you want, that's fine. I said, but I don't agree with that, and I don't want to hear that. And that was that. She wasn't going to argue with you. She wasn't going to keep telling you. When my mother said something, that's what she meant. And that was that. My dad, he was a very stern man, but he was not unjust. Matter of fact, when I started sharing with him what happened about, when I accepted Islam, he started telling me how white people had treated him in Mississippi. He told me about the time he got into it with a white man over trying to make him eat some eggs that he didn't order that the way he cooked them. And they got into it. And the only thing saved his life was that this other white man said, no, that boy's a good worker, don't you? But so me and him, we started talking like men. That was the first time I ever heard my daddy tell me anything about what had happened to him as he was growing up. And the first time in my life he had ever flipped me his car key too and told me to drive, which told me that he was proud of the fact that I was man enough to stand up for myself. And so not long after that, he had he used to go and, in his retirement, he used to still work. He was going around, he was in his 70s and still climbing up on ladders and stuff and getting iron and stuff like that and selling it. And he fell off a ladder. And his health went down from that point. I knew why once I grew in the knowledge of Islam. You see, every time you eat a mouthful of pig, your immune system goes to work, fighting that poison, those poison worms and stuff that you have consumed. And so our bodies his body was just full of all that swine that he had been eating all his life. And then when he injured himself at that old age, his immune system was just overrun, and he never did fully recover from that. And not long after that fall, he had a stroke. And but I had loving parents, and I'm so thankful that I had a father and a mother. I know what it was like to grow up in what was somewhat of a normal way that a child should have with father and their mother active in their life. I'm so thankful I had my father around, because my mother, bless her heart, my mother would have turned me into a coward. Because, she didn't believe in fighting. She didn't believe in, she really believed in turning the other cheek. I came home crying one day, and my daddy told me I better not never come home crying because somebody hit me and I didn't hit him back. He said, "Don, I'm going to beat you." He put the fear in me. So I fought back from that time on. And I'm so thankful that my daddy put some sense in me. That you can be nonviolent. That don't mean that you're going to be a coward. If somebody attack you, then they are being violent. What nonviolence actually means is that you will not aggress on anybody. You won't start a fight. But if someone attacks you, you're not being violent, you're defending yourself. They being violent. And you try to fix it where they don't be violent on nobody else. So we walk away from trouble whenever you can. Don't stand around jaw-jacking with people, working your way up to no fight. Just leave. If they let you, walk away. You ain't got nothing to prove. Unless you're trying to prove how stupid you are. So just, be wise. Always go in the way of peace. Never aggress upon any person. Keep your hands to yourself. I remember when I was in school, you hit somebody upside the head, your hands swell all up. What is that telling you? Your hands wasn't made for that. Now you walking around with a swollen hand, I bust that so-and-so upside the head. Yeah, and look, who got hurt the most? Now you can't use your hand. Keep your hands to yourself. Walking around here, let them talk. Leave him there talking to himself. Only a fool will try to prevent you from walking away and start following you up. And, the fool hastens to the correction of the stocks. When the horse get to clowning and going on and whatnot, sometimes all you can do is bust him upside the head and then he straighten up. So, but anyway, I don't have to be corrected like that. A person tell me they don't want to talk to me, I leave them alone. That's just that simple. But don't come in my class and tell me that you don't want to talk to me. You get your behind out of here. Because I didn't force you to come into this class. So if you came in here, it was to listen to me, and if you want to talk to me, you talk to me. Now, you cannot compare if a person has an apple and an orange, and they start saying, well, this orange is delicious. And you turn around and say, compared to this orange, this apple ain't about nothing. Well, that's not a just comparison. You don't compare an apple to an orange. You compare another orange to an orange. And you compare an apple to an apple. You see? It's just like with me. If you want to make judgments about me, and I'm telling you that I'm the brother of Jesus and Moses and David and Solomon, if I'm telling you that I am in the same circle of knowledge and circle of wisdom that they are in, then if you want to compare me to anybody, you have to go get them. Get their words and see if their words condemn me. And if their words agree with me, then if you believe in them, you have to believe in me. Do you understand? Okay, so I started letting you hear something that I want you listen to, and we're gonna listen to the whole thing. This is President Kennedy's inaugural address. I want you to hear it.
Execute the office of President of the United States. I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States. And will, to the best of your ability. And will, to the best of my ability. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States. So help me God. So help me God. Vice President Johnson, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chief Justice, President Eisenhower, Vice President Nixon, President Truman, American clergy, fellow citizens. We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom, symbolizing an end as well as a beginning, signifying renewal as well as change. For I have sworn before you and Almighty God the same solemn oath our forebears prescribed nearly a century and 3/4 ago. The world is very different now, for man holds in his mortal hand the power to abolish all forms of human poverty and all forms of human life. And yet the same revolutionary beliefs for which our forebears fought are still at issue around the globe. The belief that the rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of God. We dare not forget today that we are the heirs of that first revolution. Let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace, proud of our ancient heritage, and unwilling to witness or permit the slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed and to which we are committed today at home and around the world. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty. This much we pledge and more. To those old allies whose cultural and spiritual origins we share, we pledge the loyalty of faithful friends. United, there is little we cannot do in a host of cooperative ventures. Divided, there is little we can do. For we dare not meet a powerful challenge at odds and split asunder. To those new states whom we welcome to the ranks of the free, we pledge our word that one form of colonial control shall not have passed away, merely to be replaced by a far more iron tyranny. We shall not always expect to find them supporting our view, but we shall always hope to find them strongly supporting their own freedom, and to remember that in the past, those who foolishly sought power by riding the back of the tiger ended up inside. To those people in the huts and villages of half the globe struggling to break the bonds of mass misery, we pledge our best efforts to help them help themselves for whatever period is required, not because the communists may be doing it, not because we seek their votes, but because it is right. If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich. To our sister republic, south of our border, we offer a special pledge to convert our good words into good deeds in a new alliance for progress, to assist free men and free governments in casting off the chains of poverty. But this peaceful revolution of hope cannot become the prey of hostile powers. Let all our neighbors know that we shall join with them to oppose aggression or subversion anywhere in the Americas. And let every other power know that this hemisphere intends to remain the master of its own house. To that world assembly of sovereign states, the United Nations, our last best hope, in an age where the instruments of war have far outpaced the instruments of peace, we renew our pledge of support to prevent it from becoming merely a forum for invective, to strengthen its shield of the new and the weak, and to enlarge the area in which its rift may run. Finally, to those nations who would make themselves our adversary, we offer not a pledge, but a request that both sides begin anew the quest for peace. Before the dark powers of destruction, unleashed by science, engulf all humanity in planned or accidental self-destruction. We dare not tempt them with weakness, for only when our arms are sufficient beyond doubt can we be certain beyond doubt that they will never be employed. But neither can two great and powerful groups of nations take comfort from our present course, both sides overburdened by the cost of modern weapons, both rightly alarmed by the steady spread of the deadly atom, yet both racing toward that uncertain balance of terror that stays the hand of mankind's final war. So let us begin anew, remembering on both sides that civility is not a sign of weakness, and sincerity is always subject to proof. Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. Let both sides explore what problems unite us, instead of belaboring those problems which divide us. Let both sides, for the first time, formulate serious and precise proposals for the inspection and control of arms, and bring the absolute power to destroy other nations under the absolute control of all nations. Let both sides seek to invoke the wonders of science instead of its terrors. Together, let us explore the stars, conquer the deserts, eradicate disease, tap the ocean depths, and encourage the arts and commerce. Let both sides unite to heed in all corners of the earth the command of Isaiah to undo the heavy burden and let the oppressed go free. And if a beachhead of cooperation may push back the jungle of suspicion, let both sides join in creating a new endeavor, not a new balance of power, but a new world of law, where the strong are just and the weak secure and the peace preserved. All this will not be finished in the first 100 days, nor will it be finished in the first 1,000 days, nor in the life of this administration, nor even perhaps in our lifetime on this planet. But let us begin. In your hands, my fellow citizens, more than mine, will rest the final success or failure of our course. Since this country was founded, each generation of Americans has been summoned to give testimony to its national loyalty. The graves of young Americans who answered the call to service surround the globe. Now the trumpet summons us again, not as a call to bear arms, though arms we need, not as a call to battle, though in battle we are, but a call to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle, year in and year out, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, a struggle against the common enemies of man, tyranny, poverty, disease, and war itself. Can we forge against these enemies a grand and global alliance, north and south, east and west, that can assure a more fruitful life for all mankind? Will you join in that historic effort? In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man. Finally, whether you are citizens of America or citizens of the world, ask of us here the same high standard of strength and sacrifice which we ask of you. With a good conscience, our only sure reward, with history the final judge of our deeds, let us go forth to lead the land we love, asking His blessing and His help, but knowing that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own.
You know, the one thing about leadership is that leadership has a duty to inspire those that are led to do better. It is not good leadership to accept less from your character than you are capable of. The job of inspiring others to always do their best is one of the most important parts of being a leader. If you get in the habit of settling for less than the best that your people can muster or are capable of, then you are not the leadership that any nation needs. It's like children. Children don't need a parent that does not inspire them to strive for excellence. They need a parent that will not settle for less than their excellence. You know, that's what our children, that's what the world is lacking now. The leadership you have, people choose now leaders that allow them to remain in a state of abjectness that allows them to pursue a suicidal course simply because it feels good. It takes willpower, it takes strength to stand for right when so many wrongs are around you to entice you and to reward you for acceptance. You don't really find out what you stand for while you are being taught. You find out what you really stand for when class is dismissed and you are released into the world that is not basically in agreement with what you are taught. Do you stand or do you fold? You know, it does not make any difference how good the teaching is if the student didn't accept it. So, I mean, you could, as you look at, as you looked and watched and listened, you noticed that the president and those who were up on the stage behind him, they didn't have on blue ties or red ties. That even was symbolic, which most people missed. The election was over. It's no longer Democrats and Republicans. It's the United States of America again. Do you understand? So you can take the red tie and the blue tie off and let's put on the white tie and let's move on. Huh? But they never take them off now. Anyway, they have fallen. They have forgotten that, you know, whenever you forget the advice of a loving parent or a patriotic parent, then you will soon forget patriotism. So it's just like with me. Many of those who try to pretend that they believed in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that's what they do with people that don't know better. You notice none of them come in here and challenge me when I speak, no matter what I speak. If they do challenge me, you discover that I always have an answer ready for them. That the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that they actually didn't pay any attention to. I want you to see this now. You just heard the good advice of President Kennedy and how he enumerated that the true enemies, he didn't call the enemies what we thought would have been called enemies. He spoke of poverty and tyranny and all of these other things that are true enemies to man. Man is not man's enemy. Man's going after inventions other than the Word of God. He invents his own enemy, his own devils. He obeys. He goes and you know, we have started doing with knowledge and understanding what human beings used to do with statues. They carve out a little statue or something and say, this is the God of thunder, this is the God of this, and they bow down to stuff they made with their hands. Now they bow down to their own inventions, like these people who go after Scientology and whatnot, their own inventions, Baptist, Methodist, Episcopal, Seventh-day Adventists, all of these made up inventions, made up religions. And when you go looking for their religion in the Holy Scriptures, it's not in there. You have to buy their book. You buy the book, and then they have you indirectly worshiping yourself. You hear people, they used to say, look, you go to your church and I'll go to mine. Yet the book says, upon this rock I will build my church. That's what Jesus said. You ain't got no church. And Jesus said, the words I'm speaking are not mine, but the Father's that sent me. That's God talking. Upon this truth that I'm speaking, upon these words, which are one, the word of God is one, like the continent. North America is one. The word of God is one. The earth is one. And on this earth, we will build a righteous world. If you want to be part of it, you better change. Now, I want you to hear this here. No, I don't want you to hear that. just a moment.
And when I say Kennedy, I mean John F. Kennedy. November 22nd, 1963. November 22nd. The hypocrisy of the white man. On November 22nd, 1963, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. The day after the assassination, Malcolm X made a remark that shocked both his followers and his enemies. When you send your chickens out.
Now, I want you to listen to what Malcolm said, and then listen to what Malcolm says when they ask him about it. And then I'm going to show you, the difference in a messenger of God and someone who winds up with a little knowledge and starts trying to second guess messengers of God and winds up getting themselves in a bunch of trouble. Do you understand? Oh, listen.
The morning from your barnyard, those chickens will return that evening to your barnyard, not your neighbor's barnyard. I think this is a prime example of the devil's chickens coming back home to roost. The public was enraged by his apparent irreverence. In his book, Malcolm insists he was misunderstood. You were involved in a controversy some months ago with your leader. Is that over? Well, I've been silent for the past 90 days because of some statements I made concerning the President of the United States, which were distorted. They were distorted. And yes. What did you say, Malcolm? Well, I said the same thing that everybody says, that his assassination was the result of the climate of hate. Only I said the chickens came home to roost, and which means the same thing. Climate of hate means that this is the result of something. And when I said chickens coming home to roost, I said the same thing. But you did not say that you were glad the president was killed. No, that's what the press said.
Now I'll tell you something. When he said that he was misunderstood, and when he began to speak, you see, Malcolm and everybody thought that we were racist, that we hated the white race. because they really did not believe that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad really meant that God visited him and taught him that the white man is the devil. They thought he was name calling. And so, you notice the president gets killed and he starts saying things like the chickens came home to roost and all that kind of thing. The messenger knew that they was going to be out there talking crazy like that. So he told them, he said, don't you say anything about the death of the president. I don't want none of my ministers to say anything about the death of the president. He couldn't have been misunderstood if he had never said nothing, huh? See, he couldn't follow instructions. And because the messenger would not be uncivilized, and you heard the inaugural address of President Kennedy. Did he sound like he was out of touch with what the real enemies are to man? No, he wasn't out of touch with what man's real enemies are. Man's real enemies are his ignorance. You have to be pretty ignorant. You have to be absent of a moral consciousness, a moral compass to be a tyrant. To mistreat your own family? You don't understand that if you don't understand that the human family is every human being on the earth. If you don't see other human beings as part of your family, you are not fit to be in charge of anything now. And that's why you're all being taken down. See, these people still want to buy up billions of dollars worth of bombs and bullets and stuff. And these over here were interested in selling it to them. Why? Because they don't care anything about their own family. You don't on the one hand tell me, brother, that all people came from us. And then on the other hand, get mad at me because I tell you that then they are our family. And then get angry with me because I want to make the family better. And you think I'm going to take your threats and stuff? Well, I'm not going to take no threats from you. I got something for you. Just a moment. This is what's for all of y'all who think you need to threaten me. Let's see here.
Welcome back. Tracking showers and storms here right along the Gulf coastal areas here within that big blob and big massive area of rain. You've got now a tornado warning, which is just issued.
Ain't that a terrible thing to wake up to? This was the news this morning, the weather report. All of these storms and things that you see happening, you ain't never seen nothing like this before. They're not finna stop. They're finna increase. So just listen.
Here by the National Weather Service office here. We got Brazoria and Galveston counties here until 10:30 dealing with that tornado warning here on this storm here. Looks like we were basically dealing with a bit of a spin up here that's quickly gone. Doesn't look so great in terms of the rotation at the moment, but still that warning is in effect until 10:30 at this point. We were watching some of the rotation here just east of Danbury. That's where we're the most, at least the last scan had the best rotation showing up. Not looking as great at this point, much more broad at the moment. So that's some good news, but still want to take the storm seriously as it's tracking its way on off towards the northeast, right around 20 miles per hour here for you. We'll time this out for you to show you what we could be dealing with, some of the other spots that could be dealing with particular potential tornado. We got Liverpool right around 10:18, heading towards Walt Disney Elementary School a little bit before 10:40, Santa Fe at 10:52, and then Galveston County Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program there right around 10:53. So those are the areas that you want to be making sure you're getting into your safe zone immediately. Getting into the lowest floor of your home or the building that you're in, and getting away from windows, as again, we do have a possible tornado here with this tornado warning here in Brazoria and Galveston counties. This is all part of a big area here of thunderstorm activity. We've actually had a bit of damage reported here, possibly right around the Angleton area, so watch out there. This is all tracking its way towards the northeast. The other threats with these storms, you can see with the heavy rain, there's going to be also some flash flooding as well. So a lot of threats here for us at this late morning, early afternoon here across southeastern portions of Texas. Watch out for the flash flood threat. That's going to be one of the greatest things that we watch for the rest of the day. But occasionally we'll see these warnings pop up, and that's what we've got right now. Just south of League City and west of Galveston, you've got a tornado warning there until 10:30. So again, get into your safe zone now to be safe, getting away from those windows. A lot of active storms ongoing here for us across the south and the east of Texas. We'll watch this area continue to expand and move across Louisiana and the rest of the deep south in the coming days, which is going to mean wet times for a lot of the folks in the deep south. Alexandra?
All right, let's take a look at the temperatures, because that is another really big story. Temperature changes coming to the Midwest. St. Louis, blue skies, 71 degrees, and 66 right now in Omaha with clear skies above. So nice conditions, but a cold front will move through and drop those temperatures below average, especially on Wednesday. We're going to see rain and cooler temperatures kind of come together. So let's show you what we've got in terms of the temperatures. Right now, Minneapolis at 57, 64 in Des Moines, 60 in Chicago, 71. And Santa Fe. So here's the movement on it. Hi, everyone, and welcome back. This is a tornado alert. We do have a tornado warning right now near Galveston, Texas. I want to show you where it is and how quickly it is moving at this point. Right now in Brazoria and Galveston counties, including Liverpool, Danbury, and Alvin until 10:30 local time. Again, this tornado warning. This cell moving northeast at about 20 miles per hour. So between Angleton and Santa Fe. So here's the movement on it. You can see that deep red color all moving eastward with this tornado warning. And again, it is southwest of Santa Fe. There's Danbury, there's Liverpool. Just south of Liverpool where you see that red line, it is all moving northeast of that. That's kind of the leading edge. So at 10:51, Santa Fe heads up. Galveston County Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program, that area to Dickinson at 11:08, to League City at 11:13 if it continues on its same path. I've had some reports of some wind damage as well. Reported damage to a well house and a trailer near Angleton at Holiday Lakes. And also another storm report in Quintana. Gust reported from Surfside Beach weather flow site at 39 miles per hour. So here's a big picture. All this moving northeast. We're just a massive cluster of showers and storms from Lufkin to Huntsville, south through Galveston. This whole axis of moisture heading toward Alexandria, Baton Rouge, and we'll have more on that. But first, here's Alex with the details of the south.
Thank you so much. You know, those beaches could be a bit of a wet over the next couple of days. So get ready for that. Jacksonville Beach looking pretty quiet right now. Looks like they're doing some work.
Very, very soon. You're going to be so swamped in calamities that daytime you're going to wish it was night, and nighttime you're going to wish it was day. You should have heeded my warning, and you should offer me help while you have a chance to get it off of you. Let me let you hear something else here. Now you heard, I've been telling you how far America has fallen. President Obama was actually a reprieve. Because he brought sanity and he brought moral correctness back to the White House. And I'll let you hear this. And you'll see what I'm talking about. If you compared him to President Kennedy, you would see that both had a way of conducting themselves that was inspirational.
Thank you. My fellow citizens, I stand here today humbled by the task before us, grateful for the trust you've bestowed, mindful of the sacrifices borne by our ancestors. I thank President Bush for his service to our nation. As well as the generosity and cooperation he has shown throughout this transition. 44 Americans have now taken the presidential oath. The words have been spoken during rising tides of prosperity and the still waters of peace. Yet, every so often, the oath is taken amidst gathering clouds and raging storms. In these moments, America has carried on not simply because of the skill or vision of those in high office, but because we, the people, have remained faithful to the ideals of our forebears and true to our founding documents. So it has been, so it must be with this generation of Americans. That we are in the midst of crisis is now well understood. Our nation is at war against a far-reaching network of violence and hatred. Our economy is badly weakened, a consequence of greed and irresponsibility on the part of some, but also our collective failure to make hard choices and prepare the nation for a new age. Homes have been lost, jobs shed, businesses shuttered. Our health care is too costly, our schools fail too many, and each day brings further evidence that the ways we use energy strengthen our adversaries and threaten our planet. These are the indicators of crisis, subject to data and statistics. Less measurable, but no less profound, is a sapping of confidence across our land. A nagging fear that America's decline is inevitable, that the next generation must lower its sights. Today, I say to you that the challenges we face are real. They are serious and they are many. They will not be met easily or in a short span of time. But know this, America, they will be met. On this day, we gather because we have chosen hope over fear, unity of purpose over conflict and discord. On this day, we come to proclaim an end to the petty grievances and false promises, the recriminations and worn-out dogmas that for far too long have strangled our politics. We remain a young nation, but in the words of Scripture, the time has come to set aside childish things. The time has come to reaffirm our enduring spirit, to choose our better history, to carry forward that precious gift, that noble idea passed on from generation to generation, the God-given promise that all are equal, all are free, and all deserve a chance to pursue their full measure of happiness. In reaffirming the greatness of our nation, we understand that greatness is never a given. It must be earned. Our journey has never been one of shortcuts or settling for less. It has not been the path for the faint-hearted, for those who prefer leisure over work or seek only the pleasures of riches and fame. Rather, it has been the risk-takers, the doers, the makers of things, some celebrated, but more often men and women obscure in their labor, who have carried us up the long, rugged path towards prosperity and freedom. For us, they packed up their few worldly possessions and traveled across oceans in search of a new life. For us, they toiled in sweatshops and settled the West, endured the lash of the whip, and plowed the hard earth. For us, they fought and died in places like Concord and Gettysburg, Normandy, and Quezon. Time and again, these men and women struggled and sacrificed and worked till their hands were raw so that we might live a better life. They saw America as bigger than the sum of our individual ambitions, greater than all the differences of birth or wealth or faction. This is the journey we continue today. We remain the most prosperous, powerful nation on earth. Our workers are no less productive than when this crisis began. Our minds are no less inventive, our goods and services no less needed than they were last week or last month or last year. Our capacity remains undiminished. But our time of standing pat, of protecting narrow interests and putting off unpleasant decisions, that time has surely passed. Starting today, we must take ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and begin again the work of remaking America. Wherever we look, there is work to be done. The state of our economy calls for action, bold and swift, and we will act, not only to create new jobs, but to lay a new foundation for growth. We will build the roads and bridges, the electric grids and digital lines that feed our commerce and bind us together. We will restore science to its rightful place and wield technology's wonders to raise healthcare's quality and lower its cost. We will harness the sun and the winds and the soil to fuel our cars and run our factories, and we will transform our schools and colleges and universities to meet the demands of a new age. All this we can do. All this we will do. Now, there are some who question the scale of our ambitions, who suggest that our system cannot tolerate too many big plans. Their memories are short, for they have forgotten what this country has already done, what free men and women can achieve when imagination is joined to common purpose and necessity to courage. What the cynics fail fail to understand is that the ground has shifted beneath them. That the stale political arguments that have consumed us for so long no longer apply. The question we ask today is not whether our government is too big or too small, but whether it works, whether it helps families find jobs at a decent wage, care they can afford, a retirement that is dignified. Where the answer is yes, we intend to move forward. Where the answer is no, programs will end. And those of us who manage the public's dollars will be held to account to spend wisely, reform bad habits, and do our business in the light of day, because only then can we restore the vital trust between a people and their government. Nor is the question before us whether the market is a force for good or ill. Its power to generate wealth and expand freedom is unmatched. But this crisis has reminded us that without a watchful eye, the market can spin out of control. The nation cannot prosper long when it favors only the prosperous. The success of our economy has always depended not just on the size of our gross domestic product, but on the reach of our prosperity, on the ability to extend opportunity to every willing heart. Not out of charity, but because it is the surest route to our common good. As for our common defense, we reject as false the choice between our safety and our ideals. Our founding fathers, faced with perils that we can scarcely imagine, drafted a charter to assure the rule of law and the rights of man, a charter expanded by the blood of generations. Those ideals still light the world, and we will not give them up for expedience sake. And so, to all the other peoples and governments who are watching today, from the grandest capitals to the small village where my father was born, know that America is a friend of each nation and every man, woman, and child who seeks a future of peace and dignity, and we are ready to lead once more. Recall that earlier generations faced down fascism and communism not just with missiles and tanks, but with the sturdy alliances and enduring convictions. They understood that our power alone cannot protect us, nor does it entitle us to do as we please. Instead, they knew that our power grows through its prudent use. Our security emanates from the justness of our cause, the force of our example, the tempering qualities of humility and restraint. We are the keepers of this legacy. Guided by these principles once more, we can meet those new threats that demand even greater effort, even greater cooperation and understanding between nations. We will begin to responsibly leave Iraq to its people and forge a hard-earned peace in Afghanistan. With old friends and former foes, we will work tirelessly to lessen the nuclear threat and roll back the specter of a warming planet. We will not apologize for our way of life, nor will we waver in its defense. And for those who seek to advance their aims by inducing terror and slaughtering innocents, we say to you now that our spirit is stronger and cannot be broken. You cannot outlast us, and we will defeat you. For we know that our patchwork heritage is a strength, not a weakness. We are a nation of Christians and Muslims, Jews and Hindus, and non-believers. We are shaped by every language and culture, drawn from every end of this earth. And because we have tasted the bitter swill of civil war and segregation and emerged from that dark chapter stronger and more united, we cannot help but believe that the old hatreds shall someday pass, that the lines of tribes shall soon dissolve, that as the world grows smaller, our common humanity shall reveal itself, and that America must play its role in ushering in a new era of peace. To the Muslim world, we seek a new way forward based on mutual interest and mutual respect. To those leaders around the globe who seek to sow conflict or blame their society's ills on the West, know that your people will judge you on what you can build, not what you destroy. To those who claim to power through corruption and deceit and the silencing of dissent, know that you are on the wrong side of history, but that we will extend a hand if you are willing to unclench your fist. To the people of 4 nations, we pledge to work alongside you to make your farms flourish and let clean waters flow, to nourish starved bodies and feed hungry minds. And to those nations like ours that enjoy relative plenty, we say we can no longer afford indifference to the suffering outside our borders, nor can we consume the world's resources without regard to effect. For the world has changed, and we must change with it. As we consider the road that unfolds before us, we remember with humble gratitude those brave Americans who, at this very hour, patrol far-off deserts and distant mountains. They have something to tell us, just as the fallen heroes who lie in Arlington whisper through the ages. We honor them not only because they are the guardians of our liberty, but because they embody the spirit of service, a willingness to find meaning in something greater than themselves. And yet, at this moment, a moment that will define a generation, it is precisely this spirit that must inhabit us all. For as much as government can do and must do, it is ultimately the faith and determination of the American people upon which this nation relies. It is the kindness to take in a stranger when the levees break, the selflessness of workers who would rather cut their hours than see a friend lose their job, which sees us through our darkest hours. It is the firefighter's courage to storm a stairway filled with smoke, but also a parent's willingness to nurture a child that finally decides our fate. Our challenges may be new. The instruments with which we meet them may be new. But those values upon which our success depends, honesty and hard work, courage and fair play, tolerance and curiosity, loyalty and patriotism, these things are old. These things are true. They have been the quiet force of progress throughout our history. What is demanded then is a return to these truths. What is required of us now is a new era of responsibility, a recognition on the part of every American that we have duties to ourselves, our nation, and the world, duties that we do not grudgingly accept, but rather seize gladly, firm in the knowledge that there is nothing so satisfying to the spirit, so defining of our character, than giving our all to a difficult task. This is the price and the promise of citizenship. This is the source of our confidence, the knowledge that God calls on us to shape an uncertain destiny. This is the meaning of our liberty and our creed, why men and women and children of every race and every faith can join in celebration across this magnificent mall. And why a man whose father less than 60 years ago might not have been served at a local restaurant can now stand before you to take a most sacred oath. Let us mark today a remembrance of who we are and how far we have traveled. In the year of America's birth, in the coldest of months, a small band of patriots huddled by dying campfires on the shores of an icy river. The capital was abandoned. The enemy was advancing. The snow was stained with blood. At a moment when the outcome of our revolution was most in doubt, the father of our nation ordered these words be read to the people. Let it be told to the future world that in the depth of winter, when nothing but hope and virtue could survive, that the city and the country, alarmed at one common danger, came forth to meet it. America, in the face of our common dangers, in this winter of our hardship, let us remember these timeless words. With hope and virtue, let us brave once more the icy currents and endure what storms may come. Let it be said by our children's children that when we were tested, we refused to let this journey end, that we did not turn back nor did we falter, and with eyes fixed on the horizon and God's grace upon us, we carried forth that great gift of freedom and delivered it safely to future generations. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
Another inspirational message from an elected president, a man elected to guide a nation that is unquestionably, and it is unquestionably the greatest nation on earth up to this point. As I read the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran, the Holy Scriptures says that except your righteousness exceed that. Let me find. I like to make sure that we are able to
Matthew chapter 5, verse 20.
in Matthew, the 5th chapter, and this is the 20th verse. For I say unto you, that except, meaning unless your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. Do you expect that Allah, God, will remove the present corrupt, wicked governments just to replace them with another one, just as wicked, just as corrupt? That wouldn't make any sense at all. No, Allah has no plans on bringing down one wicked man just to put another wicked man up. So, it is time now, if you want to be here, I want to tell you, you've got to change. The one thing that both President Obama and President Kennedy had in common, that when they spoke, it touched something inside of your heart to make you, to give you hope and to make you want to do better. And it's no way that they could have done that if they didn't, you know, a person cannot make you feel what they don't feel. Do you understand? It will come off as phony. You know, people can say words, but those words will not have the inspirational effect if the inspiration is not there. You can only give people what you have. Do you understand? So as I told you from the beginning, you don't compare apples to oranges. You compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. You compare presidents to presidents. You compare prophets to prophets. The words of the prophets are subject to the prophets. Do you understand? After the election, the inaugural address, one of the most important themes of ask, you don't have to take my word for it. Ask anyone that understands the political arena, and they will tell you that, especially now, the most important part of the inaugural address is to inspire unity in the American people. In a time of so much divisiveness, the inaugural address should inspire people to patriotism and unity. And if you don't understand that, you're the wrong man for the job. Even though those inaugural addresses are old, one was fairly new, 2009, that's President Obama, and the other, President Kennedy, I think this is 1962. But those addresses still are inspirational. At least to me it was. You know, I mean, the words, that's the one thing about the truth. Most people don't realize that the truth actually does not ever get old. When did 1 + 1 being 2 get old? It endures to all generations, doesn't it? You know, there are certain truths that are transitory. In other words, they are only temporary, like a baby walker. A baby walker is temporary, and so consequently they change. Even though that you will more than likely always have baby walkers, but you will have a change in it's the way that it is made and that kind of thing. Do you understand? And that is, but there are certain things that, and therefore you have a baby walker that gets old. But there are certain things that will never change. As the book says, I am the Lord and I change not. The truth, the universal truth, never changes. Righteousness does not change. You must pass the knowledge and understanding of righteousness intact. If you intend for a civilization to endure, that civilization must lay hold to the handle, to the doctrine that endures. Righteousness does not get old. Right conduct is not a fad. It's not, doing unto others as you would have others do unto you. That's not a fad. That's not something that one generation can forget and just keep on going. The minute you forget that, you doom your own civilization. It's like going down the road, and even though you may have brakes or whatnot, you drain the brake fluid out of your car, and then after you get it all out of there, and make sure you pump it all out after you drain the reservoir, then get it all out of the line, and then say, well, and now let's go. You just doomed yourself. Because without that brakes, you can't stop that vehicle. And likewise, they taught us when I was growing up that your freedom stops where the other person's freedom begins. And, you have to think over that to understand that. Yes, you have the freedom of speech, but you have to know when someone has the freedom to not listen to you and to not hear you speaking. For you also have the freedom to not listen to people if you don't want to. Is that right? So what is intelligent is when you don't want to hear people, you tell them, hey, look, I don't want to hear that right now. Well, if someone say that to you, in a general sense, that's where doing unto others as you'd have others do unto you comes in. And that is, okay, we'll talk about it later. That's just that simple. Right? Because if you tell them, I don't want to hear that right now, what would you expect them to do? You expect them to stop and give you the freedom to not hear that right now. So it's much that as you look at this, without righteousness, there can be no civilized behavior. There is no civilization without righteousness. Because righteousness is what allows everyone to exercise freedom. Otherwise, you start saying it's first come, first serve. Do you understand? Well, if you didn't get in there first, well, then you ain't got no freedom. But righteousness dictates the truth of how to afford everyone's freedom. That's why when Jesus, a lot of people, they forget the wisdom that was in a lot of what Jesus said. He said, if you continue in my words, if you continue studying and then carrying into practice the words that I share with you, then you will be my disciples in your deeds, not just through lip profession. There's a whole lot of people that follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in lip profession. But I'm proving to you, and I'm giving you a mirror. That's what water is. It's a good mirror. When you look into water, it's a mirror. So I'm giving everyone a good mirror to look at themselves in. That's what the truth is. It's pure water, pure living water. And the truth will allow you to see yourself. And so Jesus said, if you continue in my word, study the word, and then carry that word into practice, then you will be my disciples in your deeds. And you shall know, meaning understand, the truth. And the truth shall make you free. The truth shall make you free. It's a lot of people that just because you can recite the Constitution, that don't mean nothing. If you don't understand what you're reciting, if you know what would stop a lot of the lies that people have been perpetuating and speaking in their what you call interpreting the Constitution. You see, they get away with misinterpreting the Constitution because you don't know the purpose of the Constitution, because you never took the time to see what its purpose was. For instance, the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, and the statement that a well-armed or well-organized, well-regulated, that's the words that they use, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the nation. The state is called the nation. Then Congress, the right of the people to keep and to bear arms shall not be abridged. You shall not make any laws stopping the civilian regulated army from keeping armories and, when necessary, bearing arms. When they need to go to the armory and get those arms and train or do whatever they need, you don't forbid that. You don't make no law against that. Now, how do you allow people to misinterpret that? By not knowing the purpose of the Constitution. Well, if people tell you that the militia, the Second Amendment was put there to safeguard the states of the United States against aggression from their own government, if you say that was the purpose of the militia, then you are undermining and calling the preamble, which explains the purpose of the Constitution, you're calling it a lie. The preamble to the Constitution, it starts off by saying we, the people, in order to form a more perfect union. Well, if the Constitution was ordained and brought into existence to form a more perfect union, how can you interpret any part of it to mean that it was to put you against each other? Do you see my point? Okay. I'm just trying to show you that, it's just like what the messenger taught us. In Islam, he said, there are no big I's and little U's. That statement alone does away with any argument that I, Minister Farrakhan, or anyone that calls themselves a leader over Muslims. It does away with any argument that suggests that we are too important or you are too unimportant for us to have a conversation with or to listen to your arguments or whatnot. Because there are no big I's and little U's in Islam. And a Muslim loves for his brother or his fellow man that which he loves for himself. If you have a disagreement with someone, you like to be able to tell them. Then when someone has a disagreement with you, why you don't stand there and let them tell you? It's because you know people are ignorant, and so you lie and you pretend. That's what a hypocrite is. A hypocrite is a liar. You can on the one hand say that you believe that Islam is freedom, justice, and equality. But when one man exercises manhood, that's what men do. If men have a problem with you, what did the messenger say? He said, you heard him. He said, if there is something wrong with what I'm preaching, tell me. Reverend? He said, and if there's something wrong with your preaching, I'm going to tell you. Huh? Well, I can't tell you if you won't let me. And you can't tell me if I won't let you. So I fix it where you can, even the people overseas, if they can't call or whatever, that they type it, the brother read it, I tell him to read it, and I put the microphone on so you hear what he reading. Because I don't want you to think that I'm standing up here faking. But you heard two presidents, one from back in the 60s and one in the 2000s. And if you would be honest, you have to acknowledge that both of them touched something inside of you if you listened without prejudice and just listened to the words. They were very inspirational, wasn't they? Now, I'm going to let you hear the latest president.
a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Did I get that right?
Chief Justice Roberts, President Carter, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, fellow Americans, and people of the world, thank you. We, the citizens of America, are now joined in a great national effort to rebuild our country and restore its promise for all of our people. Together, we will determine the course of America and the world for many, many years to come. We will face challenges. We will confront hardships, but we will get the job done. Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. And we are grateful to President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama for their gracious aid throughout this transition. They have been magnificent. Thank you. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C. and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. Their victories have not been your victories. Their triumphs have not been your triumphs. And while they celebrated in our nation's capital, there was little to celebrate for struggling families all across our land. That all changes starting right here and right now, because this moment is your moment. It belongs to you. It belongs to everyone gathered here today and everyone watching all across America. This is your day. This is your celebration. And this, the United States of America, is your country. What truly matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people. January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. Everyone is listening to you now. You came by the tens of millions to become part of a historic movement, the likes of which the world has never seen before. At the center of this movement is a crucial conviction that a nation exists to serve its citizens. Americans want great schools for their children, safe neighborhoods for their families, and good jobs for themselves. These are just and reasonable demands of righteous people and a righteous public. But for too many of our citizens, a different reality exists. Mothers and children trapped in poverty in our inner cities. Rusted out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape of our nation. An education system flush with cash, but which leaves our young and beautiful students deprived of all knowledge. And the crime, and the gangs, and the drugs that have stolen too many lives and robbed our country of so much unrealized potential. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now. We are one nation, and their pain is our pain. Their dreams are our dreams, and their success will be our success. We share one heart, one home, and one glorious destiny. The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans. For many decades, we've enriched foreign industry at the expense of American industry, subsidized the armies of other countries while allowing for the very sad depletion of our military. We've defended other nations' borders while refusing to defend our own. And spent trillions and trillions of dollars overseas while America's infrastructure has fallen into disrepair and decay. We've made other countries rich while the wealth, strength, and confidence of our country has dissipated over the horizon. One by one, the factories shuttered and left our shores, with not even a thought about the millions and millions of American workers that were left behind. The wealth of our middle class has been ripped from their homes and then redistributed all across the world. But that is the past, and now we are looking only to the future. We assembled here today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every city, in every foreign capital, and in every hall of power. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first. Every decision on trade, on taxes, on immigration, on foreign affairs will be made to benefit American workers and American families. We must protect our borders from the ravages of other countries, making our products, stealing our companies, and destroying our jobs. Protection will lead to great prosperity and strength. I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, never let you down. America will start winning again, winning like never before. We will bring back our jobs. We will bring back our borders. We will bring back our wealth. And we will bring back our dreams. We will build new roads and highways and bridges and airports and tunnels and railways all across our wonderful nation. We will get our people off of welfare and back to work, rebuilding our country with American hands and American labor. We will follow two simple rules: buy American and hire American. We will seek friendship and goodwill with the nations of the world, but we do so with the understanding that it is the right of all nations to put their own interests first. We do not seek to impose our way of life on anyone, but rather to let it shine as an example. We will shine for everyone to follow. We will reinforce old alliances and form new ones and unite the civilized world against radical Islamic terrorism, which we will eradicate completely from the face of the earth. At the bedrock of our politics will be a total allegiance to the United States of America. And through our loyalty to our country, we will rediscover our loyalty to each other. When you open your heart to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice. The Bible tells us how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. We must speak our minds openly, debate our disagreements honestly, but always pursue solidarity. When America is united, America is totally unstoppable. There should be no fear. We are protected, and we will always be protected. We will be protected by the great men and women of our military and law enforcement. And most importantly, we will be protected by God. Finally, we must think big and dream even bigger. In America, we understand that a nation is only living as long as it is striving. We will no longer accept politicians who are all talk and no action, constantly complaining but never doing anything about it. The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action. Do not allow anyone to tell you that it cannot be done. No challenge can match the heart and fight and spirit of America. We will not fail. Our country will thrive and prosper again. We stand at the birth of a new millennium, ready to unlock the mysteries of space, to free the earth from the miseries of disease, and to harness the energies, industries, and technologies of tomorrow. A new national pride will stir our souls, lift our sights, and heal our divisions. It's time to remember that old wisdom our soldiers will never forget, that whether we are black or brown or white, we all bleed the same red blood of patriots. We all enjoy the same glorious freedoms, and we all salute the same great American flag. And whether a child is born in the urban sprawl of Detroit or the windswept plains of Nebraska, they look up at the same night sky, they fill their heart with the same dreams, and they are infused with the breath of life by the same almighty Creator. So to all Americans, in every city near and far, small and large, from mountain to mountain, from ocean to ocean, hear these words: you will never be ignored again. Your voice, your hopes, and your dreams will define our American destiny. And your courage and goodness and love will forever guide us along the way. Together, we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you. God bless America.
So, when I measured his inauguration speech next to President Kennedy, I guess I should have put President Clinton's in there also, but there was no, it was like he was giving another rally rather than the election is over, now let's get together and do something. But, you know, I did not feel inspired at all. But this is what the world has come to. It was not a wise thing to stand up and tell the world, in so many words, every man for himself. You know, one of the things that made America so prominent in the minds of other people was the willingness of America's people and its government to seemingly put others who were less fortunate before themselves. And that is something that we learn just from growing up in this.
Not coming in clear.
I said that one of the things that, I mean, when when he stood there and said that America first, that has not been actually the hallmark that this government has ever portrayed since the open door policy. Even before President Roosevelt got into entered into the war, some say by design, but I don't parakeet that. I just simply say that America was an isolationist government that at one time was just let the world go to hell in a handbasket. It just let America, we gonna look out for ourselves. But that type of thinking gave way to the open door policy, according to the history I was taught. Maybe I was taught wrong. If any of you know better, you can correct me on that. But it is not in keeping with greatness to portray an image of selfishness. Even in parenting, you discover that once you get a family, a father.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Daddy, your voice is coming in real choppy over the conference room.
Well, okay. But anyway, you all pardon me a moment. The parents in the house, because they are the ones that are endowed with more understanding and more power and greater authority, then nature teaches you that you must put the children or the other members of the house who have less power than yourself. You must see to their needs rather than your own first. That's part of the price that you pay to be in charge, that you should see after others first. That's part of leading. That's not just in the individual house. So the reason that America is so respected is because of the unselfish nature of America's dealing with nations that are not as affluent or as great in their authority or as blessed. And to stand up and speak as though it is something that we actually in putting others, in helping others, that is how most of the presidents realized that they were putting America first. You know, by helping others. There's an old saying that when I was growing up, you're going to meet the same people on the way down that you met on the way up. And depending on how many people you helped on the way up will determine how far you fall before somebody catch you. You have to know how to put America first. You have to know how to do that. Just like, you know, the purpose of nations is not to serve themselves. The purpose of nations is to, you know, that's the government's purpose, is to serve the nation that creates that government. I think that's what maybe he might have been trying to say, but he used the wrong words. It is when we become empowered. It's just like me. I'm empowered over the nation, the new nation of Islam. Then I understand that because I'm empowered to order people around and to make final decisions on things, then to whom much is given, to whom much authority is given, then much is expected of that person. Much service is expected from you. And that is the old saying, to whom much is given, much is required. You see, so I can't put me first. That I have to put those who don't have the authority to just go and do something. I have to put them first. Otherwise, I become a tyrant. I become unfit to be over people if the only one I'm thinking about is myself. The brain, according to what the scientific community has taught us, the brain feels for the body, but feels no pain for itself. In other words, the brain can't feel pain of itself. It feels pains for the parts of the body. That is by design. You know, that's one of the reasons why you have Secret Service and FBI and CIA and all that. And that's one of the reasons why God protects his messenger, so that the messenger don't fear for himself. He fears for others. The president, he does not fear. When President Kennedy got murdered, he didn't get murdered while fearful. He was surrounded by what he felt, and what generally is he's in a bubble of protection, so that he don't have to be sitting up worrying about whether somebody gonna murder him or whatever. He can worry about serving his country. And doing what he was there for, you know. And so, you know, but I want to say to all of you, if you don't put racism down, it's going to put you down. Just like cancer. If you don't put cancer down, cancer will soon put you in the ground. Now, those of you who don't know where all of the people on earth came from, all the people on earth came from the black man. So that means the black man is everybody's father. Now, that means we can dispense with all of this. I'm better than you, and I'm this, and I'm that, and that's a, you have any scientist that can come in here and show, if he's an anthropologist, then let him come in here and show that he came from someplace other than the black man. Well then, now that you know that the black man is your father, honor your father. No more disrespect. Now all of that, the lies that you've been living under, there's no more living in the dark. It's time now to come into the light. No more going around making mockery of one another, because we all family. Now either straighten up or you soon not going to be here. I'm not worried about what you think you're going to plan against me or against the work that I'm here to do. If you keep trying to plan evil against me, you're going to be a babbling idiot walking around here in a minute, because you're not going to have no mind. The only planning you're doing is against yourself. The cup she have filled, double it back on, pour it back on, fill to her double. So now, if you think I'm joking, you think this is some kind of game that we playing? Well, you will find out the hard way, like Noah's people found out the hard way. Lot's people found out the hard way. And the world has become a very small place thanks to the internet, the computer age. Now, one person can talk to every person on earth, theoretically. If you put computers in everybody's, at everyone's disposal, then everyone can talk to everyone on the earth. The earth has become a community. O community of men and of jinn and men, were not my messages recited to you? Why does it ask that question? Let's where's that at? Oh, it's late. Tell you what, remind me. I don't know what good it do for me to tell people to remind me of stuff, because I tell y'all to remind me of stuff, you don't do it. Anyway, remind me to take this subject up Wednesday. I forgot it's Monday night here, and we all got to go to work tomorrow.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Comment and a question. Adam 09 says, how come Marvin, Silas, Farrakhan, and any others don't get together for a meeting?
Don't keep asking me that same asinine. It's becoming an asinine question. as many times as you've heard me tell you and other people to invite, get Minister Farrakhan or whatever, I would go wherever y'all want to meet at. I'll be more than happy to meet with all of you. So don't keep asking me the same trite question. I'm not the one running from any of these people. They're all running away from me. Why don't you go and ask them that? And I hear your disrespect. Since when did you get on a first name basis with me? That is some of the most disrespectful things that you can do to a stranger. Walk up to them, calling them by their first name, and they don't know you, especially if they're older than you. You ungrateful booger.
Sir, he leaves another comment saying, I call you that because I only know that name.
You know me as Son of Man. You in a scriptural discussion with the Son of Man. Sitting up there lying, talking about that's the only name you know. You want some thin ice, be careful that you don't fall through with your next statement. Hell is up under there. Now, anyway, y'all remind me about what I said about the old community of gin and men, were not my messages recited to you? Yes, I laid a foundation for it. As you see, the whole earth now have become a community. I mean, we talking to people in Germany, we talking to people in Italy, we talking to people in France, we talking to people on the continent of Africa, we talking to people all over the earth. Wherever the internet is, we are there. And the internet is worldwide. So the kingdom of heaven hath become like a great net, just like Jesus said. Which men cast into the sea and drew in of every kind. You can find every kind of knowledge that you're looking for, righteous and wicked, on the internet. Cast the bad away, and we're putting the good into vessels. Okay. So, beg your pardon?
He left another disrespectful comment saying, I ain't calling you no son of man. You just as crazy.
Well, you know, long as, you know, that's fine. But, you know, as long as he ain't gone too far, that's okay. He ain't got to call me son of man. But if you want to address me, you address me, either by my title or don't talk to me. Now, that's just simple. That's like them fools that used to run around here talking about they wasn't going to call Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali want to keep calling him Cassius Clay. When he whooped up on a few of them, they called him, you remember that Ernie Shaver, what was his name? Ernie Terrell. Muhammad Ali whooped him and kept asking, what's my name? Before it was over, he told him his name. You know, that shows a lack of maturity on your part. When you come into my arena and you say, I'm not going to call you son of man.
Well, why are you in here? Why don't you just stay away from me? Why do you need to come in here to disrespect me? I mean, that would be just like me going to the White House. No, I didn't vote for President Trump. But if I was going to go and visit visit him at the White House or visit any place where he was, and if I was going to speak to him, I would refer to him as Mr. President. Because that is the title that he goes by. Whether I think Minister Farrakhan is still a qualified minister or not, if I speak to him, I refer to him as Minister Farrakhan. That's because I'm a civilized man. But you're just a sorry slave that has no better sense than to disrespect a man who's old enough to be your daddy. You can't point out nothing that you're doing for anybody. You haven't pointed it out. I've shown plenty that I'm doing to justify my title. And even if I was not doing anything, the first thing you learn when you become a civilized human being is when a man introduces himself, you refer to him in the way that he introduced himself. So as not to offend him, because you want the same courtesy. That's just civilized. Now if you can offer some proof, which I did offer everybody's $20,000 if they can prove that I'm not the Son of Man. You haven't offered no proof that I'm not the Son of Man.
He says Clay got his name from his leader or teacher.
No, I got my name from Almighty God and His prophets. So that makes no sense what you're saying. It's people that didn't even accept the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They still call him Elijah Fool, like a fool like you. I don't have any stomach for cowards or children who don't have sense enough. I can tell how you were raised. It's just like with me. Anyone that see how I talk to people and treat people, they can tell how I was raised. But you ain't never seen me walk up to nobody that I don't know personally, referring to them by their first name. I don't do that. Because I was taught that it's disrespectful. And I never did call no grown folks. I never did call my own daddy. His name was Cornelius, but I didn't call my daddy Cornelius. Even after I got grown, I called my daddy Daddy. My mother called him Cornelius. I didn't call my mother Catherine or Kate. I called my mother Medea. And then Ma for short, but I didn't call her by her name. That's generally the way equals talk to each other. You hear me talking to a brother. I don't get on no first name basis. When I say, hey, yes, brother, what is it, brother? Or what not? Even if he's not truly a brother. But he's a brother in another meaning of the word brother. If he's a man, if he's a male, and I do that to show respect. You running around here acting like you know who the Son is. The book said, don't no man know who the Son is but the Father. You sit up out there, I'm not going to chastise you, man. You better correct yourself. Sit up and listen to me all this time, sharing things that ain't nobody ever shared with you. And then you come in here showing that kind of disrespect. Why don't you just leave me alone? Your ungrateful self. You know, I'm not going to even talk about the fact that you sit up out there typing something instead of coming in here talking to me like a man. Anyway, let me let y'all go, beloved. May Allah bless us all. And if he try to type something else, just erase it. You know, that's just done to keep me from letting y'all go and get your rest. This is, now you better quit while you're ahead, man. I haven't cast you in hell. Now you just go on, leave me alone. Go on about your business. Wednesday, if you remind me, I will go into that to show you that everything that people doing, Allah saw it and wrote it down. As the messenger, he said, we would not be gods if we did not know what was going to happen on our earth. So, may Allah bless us, keep us safe, and grant to us to stay in our right mind. May Allah's Assalamu alaikum.
Your conference.
Did the fool try to write anything else?